All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Nightlife. Episode number 2 of Night Fight is out. Once again, bang up episode. I am excited tonight because with me tonight, I got, as advertised for episode 3, the 6'7" Barbarian out of Baltimore, Paul Friedel. Thank you for being on board, man. It's good to talk to you.
What's kicking, fellas? What's kicking? That's some gnarly fighting.
Yeah, and of course, I don't want him to feel left out. My compadre in all this, the trash knight himself, Evan Ringo.
Yo, what it do? What it do? What up, Paul?
What it do, man?
And of course, I'm Ben Sugarman, so let's go ahead and kick this off without any further ado. So let me go ahead and, before we get too into it, I'm going to run down the fighters we got for episode 2. We got Charlie. He was announced as a jouster, and I think, Evan, you got a little more background on him.
Yeah, so Charlie Andrews, if you remember a couple years ago, there were a couple of reality shows based on jousting. Charlie Andrews is one of the main driving force behind Knights of Mayhem, which was one of those shows. He's a big name in the jousting community, a very polarizing figure there, but we're not going to talk about that.
Whatever, he's a jouster.
Yeah, point is, he does not have that much experience on the ground, but he has been in armor for a significant portion of his life.
Okay, and he didn't seem that bad out there, so we won't hold it against him too much. But moving on, we got some familiar faces. We got Jesse from West Coast, another great fighter. Bam Bam. I mean, if you're in this sport and you don't know who Bam Bam is, I mean, come on.
Shame.
Yeah, we got Tyler, another great fighter out of the Knights Hall, one of your boys up there, Ringo.
Yep.
We got Anton, who he's pretty new to the ACL. We've seen him a few times, but I know he's advertised as a fencer with fencing background. But you said he's in the SCA, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's got SCA and HEMA background, so he's been in armor doing harness flexion for a while. And he's actually been doing ACL for a little bit, but this was, I believe, his first major ACL event. So, and not to fucking spoil it, but it shows.
Yeah, once again, like the first episode with the UFC coming out, we get people from other disciplines coming out. And our goal here isn't to bash them too much because, just putting on the armor and agreeing to be on the show with, your varying levels of experience, big props for even showing up to fight because a lot of people will back out of the fight.
Right.
It was good to see. It was good to see that we had everybody that is used to wearing armor and everything else like that, and they didn't have to try and get over that hurdle within a day of getting into armor.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I agree. Picking up other armored fighters is definitely the way to go over adding new to armor. But I believe there's one more fighter you wanted to talk about.
Right, yeah. We also got Charlie, a.k.a. Buddy. He was also on. Good guy. I think it's from the Plains region, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I believe Idaho. He's one of Jake Wilmer's boys. He's an old school fighter. He's not that first wave, but that second wave of fighter. I believe a contemporary of Paul's, actually, a little bit before me.
I saw that helmet. I was like, Omer might have a doppelganger there.
So his kid, I believe, is entirely Weaver made, and yeah, he's been absent for a couple years due to money problems, but it's good to see him back in kit. I'm excited about that, and hopefully we'll see him around more.
Yeah.
I fought with Buddy back in the day. I think he went to Poland with us, actually.
Was he on the Poland team?
Oh.
I think he was on the Poland team because I do remember him going with us to Prague.
Okay.
All right, good to know. Yeah.
I didn't. That was back before I knew a bunch of the people, and there's a bunch of faces who disappeared right after Poland, so I definitely could see myself not remembering that. But yeah, that's about the right timeline.
Yeah, great to hear. Poland was like what 3-4 years ago, I think at this point.
Poland was 2015.
I think it's 2015.
So
4 years.
Yeah.
4 years.
Okay. 4 years.
Yeah,
I've been hitting the head a lot, so my times get all messed up.
Yeah, don't ask us to do math, guys. What the fuck?
It's a rough go.
So before we get too into it, Paul, just initial thoughts on the episode as a whole. What if you were to like give it a grade or the overall thoughts on episode 2.
I looking at this episode, it was gnarly. I enjoyed all the fighting that I saw. It was a very high quality of fighting. Everybody was super aggressive. Everybody was making moves around that arena. That arena is probably 35 foot across all the way around. So I give the fighting a you know what, I'm not even gonna give it a grade. I think it was very good fighting. I can't grade fighting like that,
Yeah.
giving it a letter grade or some shit like that, because it just doesn't feel right. Because you can't give a general idea of it. But I think it was some very, very hard fighting. Those guys were moving around that ring a whole lot. There were a couple big gnarl ups against the rails a couple times, but everybody tried to keep their distance a little bit more.
There was some good movement. I saw that the movement, at least from episode 1 to 2, was, I thought at least they picked it up a little bit. But Ringo, what are your overall thoughts on episode 2 before we get into the nuts and bolts of it?
Oh man, you know what? That's some of the best fucking dynamic fighting I've seen from big boys. I didn't think the show. I heard this from another fighter. I don't think the show correctly advertised how large these humans are. Yeah, like those are all
them fellas. Most of them fellas were over 250 pounds. 250 pounds.
Easily.
I don't think there was a dude on that show who was under 250. There definitely wasn't a dude. There definitely wasn't a dude under 6 feet. And like they're all big dudes trucking around in a lot of armor, and those hits are fucking heavy and huge, and you could see it fucking when Bam was hitting. And there's a reason why people react the way they react when Bam punches you in the face. That's just it's a lot of mass and a lot of strength behind that fucking punch.
I mean, that's a punch you do not forget that punch.
So I love this episode. It was great. It was brutal. My one complaint is not enough weapon strikes in round 2.
Okay, and we're gonna get to round 2. We'll get into the nuts and bolts of it, but I agree. Overall, very good episode. We'll get into the historical stuff, but overall, I thought the skill was fairly even across all the fighters. Of course, the winner, was the winner for a reason. But overall, the skill was fairly evenly put across, and we'll get into that now with round 1. We'll talk about initially. There's a bit of a massive chaos as soon as round 1 began. It was just a mess, but I saw the highlight that history showed was Buddy using I do love that it's a bit of a weird looking two-hander. He called it kindness. He was killing him with kindness. I got a good chuckle out of that. But just looking at that thing, let me get your guys' take on how effective you think that would actually be in a melee. That big two-handed falchion, almost like an orc weapon.
So here, I know for a fact that weapon is effective as fuck. Sacramento 4 years ago, I want to say, I don't remember, but we did a nationals in Sacramento. It was Cole's first time in fucking armor, if any of you know Coltrane. And Buddy was fucking laying waste to people with that. And so I don't know if people in the show were just on another level of toughness, or if there's better armor, or if Buddy has fallen off, because he has taken 3 to 4 years off. But in Sacramento, he would hit a dude, that dude would hit the ground. He would hit a dude, that dude would hit the ground. Here, he hit a dude 3 times. Dude didn't even turn around.
Yeah, and
so he was the time that you're talking about is when he was hitting Anton, I think, and Anton was wearing full Gothic stainless plate. Like Anton is tanked up like a nut job in that.
And let me.
I don't think Buddy was taking the best aim when he was striking at him. He wasn't hitting gaps. He wasn't hitting like the areas where you're soft. I think he was just hitting him in hardened plate.
You're 100% right on that. I was thinking about that watching it. And also, I don't think he found his range. I remember them saying he did a good job staying at range, but it looked like he was still in a little too close to me. And he's throwing those downward shots that were landing on the back instead of a shoulder. So he's not even he's not coming perpendicular on his on his contact.
Right,
And
yeah.
I want to shout out Anton here. I fought against him at Western. That dude, there were a couple of moments you could see he has no padding on the back, no armor on the back of his
Right.
thighs or his calves. Dude, I lit that guy up at Western. He took him forever to sit down. He is a tough motherfucker. So, again, it could be the armor, it could be the toughness, it could be Buddy fell off. I don't know what it was, but that weapon works. The weapon works
Ringo,
even more than
fighting,
we saw.
When you're fighting for 10 grand, the adrenaline level is just like exponentially up, and you really don't
100%.
feel.
Yeah. And I mean, I think we're all pretty vain. You put some cameras on us. Just find someone that says, okay, this is going to be a little unsafe. It might hurt a little. Show me the guy that's going to say, I'm not going to do that.
Right.
Or back out.
I just want to point out, like, I don't know what it was, but those same hits 3 years ago dropped motherfuckers.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
And
so we don't know what we weren't on the field, so it's hard for us to judge. But I think good money, those shots are hitting with the same power we saw Gilbert roll out of the fucking arena in last episode.
Right, yeah. And, you know, if you want to talk about being effective, of course we got to talk about just Bam being Bam. I mean, this 6-man free-for-all was just a showcase of why Bam is... It's why he's got the nickname Bam Bam. It's just his punches in slow-mo on a good camera like that. Holy fuck.
I mean, you land square with a heavy punch with that much ass behind you. Just kind of, it's pretty telling because you watch the head just snap back, and a helmet takes a lot of that force out of it. But you're still getting your brain rattle around in there. You're still getting hit. It sucks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we can talk about that now. To jump in topics a little, you know, I want to talk about it in the historical match, but. You saw Tyler after round 2. His eye was, you know, it's visibly like beaten, almost like black and blue. And, you know, we got these guys fighting in these helms that aren't theirs, armor's not theirs, and
okay, stop. Let's hold off on that. Let's get through the first round. You know, shout out to Charlie. He did some serious work, even with the damn pins and rods in his leg.
Mm-hmm.
I give him a lot of credit on that. I will say that going to the ground in this show and in this fight, if you get put on the ground, it's a lot harder to get back up than it is to keep standing and keep fighting.
Right.
Seeing the thing, like the guys that went down to the ground, they got up and they moved a little bit slower after they got up off the ground. And I think being one leg down is just a son of a bitch.
Yo, and I mean, he's one leg down, and I saw the break. I saw an X-ray of it. I don't remember seeing it in the show, but my buddy showed it to me before this. That thing was snapped in half. It wasn't together at all. That's a fucking break. Like, there was an inch separation from the two bone pieces. So, and that was in February. Damn. To come back 4 months. You're not through PT. You're not done your PT in 4 fucking months from the break.
Major
like
shout
that.
out to him. That's insane.
You're barely off crutches. So big ups on coming back, and let's talk about the fucking age difference. All right, Anton I think was the fucking next oldest at 40. He's fucking 50 years old, and like let's not say there aren't 50 years old fucking killing it in the game. Andre, I think, is almost 50. He's fucking killing it. Jay's 52. He's fucking killing it. Mangler's 52. He's fucking killing it. But you got to be something else to fucking be in this game at that age. And he fucking showed up against hardcore fucking killers. 4 of those dudes, I can tell you for a fact, their names have been in discussion to be on the Eagles.
Yep.
And all 4 of those made that second round.
Yep. And speaking of some of the other great names in there, Jesse and Tyler, especially around round 3, they had a great showing of why they're just great fighters. So it's great to see. You know, we saw Buddy go out there, we saw Bam go out there. Jesse and Tyler looked absolutely great in round 3, especially. And so we went on. We got we got Bam, we got Buddy, we got Tyler, got the immediate pass. So that left the rest to fight for it. Pass it off to. Okay,
what was your thought? Hold up. What was your thought on Buddy over Jesse.
Okay, so that was good to talk about.
I had Jesse going through.
I had Jesse going through as well.
I think Jesse was against the rail too much in the first round of that fight. He was against the rail. He wasn't nearly dynamic enough. He was hyper aggressive in the third round. He showed some serious shit.
That third round.
Yeah.
He showed some serious shit in that. But I think he just wasn't aggressive enough for them, or he just got put up against the rail and got smashed around. Like, that's the problem. Yeah. That's the thing about it. If you get put against the rail, those judges are going to look at you and go, well, he didn't get out of the rail, and he wasn't really doing anything effective. He was just against the rail dealing with a guy.
So, and that would be one of my, critiques if we're talking about season 2 or how to improve this. I would take a lot of time out of this second round where it's historical. I'd put a lot more time into this, 3-on-3 and really dive into, get some more camera angles, see what else is going on in this, and allocate some more time. Because I'd like to see what Buddy was doing for round 3, round 2. We only really saw round 1 when he got some solid strikes in, but, some more angles of what exactly is going on the field, I would just love.
Yeah, I would want to see, like, the straight down shot. If they had a camera in the middle of the arena, like, looking straight down, you can have the whole ring inside the camera. That would be perfect to show movement and to show where everybody is and what everybody's doing at one point in time or another in the round.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Sorry, what were you saying, Evan?
No, I'm agreeing with Paul that getting that overview shot, that whole angle shot, would be fucking amazing. And you know what I would like to see? I would really like to see just a pretty much a straight through, because it's only a minute long, and then give us these fucking clips and these highlights. A straight through, and even cut out the announcer's commentary on that first minute, and then cut the announcers in as you're showing those cool highlights from the other. I'm
okay with them and like having the commentary over top of the fight. I just want to see the whole fight without having replays inside.
No, I agree. The commentary during the fight's fine. I'm just saying, because we have that commentary track, we could give you one play, just give you everything from that top angle, and then give us all these highlights they're showing, and that's when you cue in, hey, this is what's happening, so that you can put it in context with that top angle shot.
And I think it's a lot like, in modern sports we see, you have the full on fight, and then in once the play's over, you have your replays where you can really highlight some stuff. And if they really want to start, making this more appealing to a lot bigger audience, I think having something where you just see an actual minute of fighting with then transitioning into instant replays where you highlight some stuff, I feel like that, that's the way to go for these first initial rounds.
If we got time, I got a rant on that, but let's get through this first.
I got one real commentary about Anton in that first couple set of rounds. He had some really good sword work. He put a lot of strikes on some dudes with his great sword, with the long sword, but the only problem is the long sword and melee really don't do nothing.
Exactly.
100%, Paul. Like, that was my thought when I was on my episode. I went out and I was like, man, I think I'm gonna take a long sword because I can throw 1,000 shots before someone touches me. But those 1,000 shots don't do that much. So a longsword's a beautiful weapon when you can stab a dude. A longsword's a beautiful weapon when someone doesn't have armor on. But for our sport, for punishment in our sport, let's be honest, those longswords, those nice, balanced, whippy longswords, they don't do shit. If you get one of those fucking two-handed crowbars, maybe that'll do something. But now you're not even using a longsword, and you might as well get that fucking two-handed falchion or that orc chopper.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think it's a lot. When we think about it, I would think more like night fights. Like the show, and what the Knights Hall does, actual night fights. Would I take this into a night fight? And think about the scoring like a night fight. They're not going counted blows in this. Who's dominating, who's like punching, kicking, biting, whatever the fuck they need to do to actually advance.
Right.
So,
I mean, the judging in general is all subjective. It is super subjective. We all understand that. We're all looking at it going, well, I would have gone this way, I would have gone that way. But the three judges up there are making the decisions that they're making just by watching what they're watching.
Exactly.
Right. And you know what sucks for them? Like, so we get to sit here and we get to judge them, but we get super slow-mos. We get fucking we get to watch this and we can rewind and watch it again. Fucking they watched it the day of. They had no monitors. They got one time to watch it. They got to watch 6 different dudes running around the arena. Like, I'm going to shit on their decisions for the rest of this podcast. I'm sorry. I'm going to do it. But mad respect for all 3 of y'all. Y'all put it, that is a hard-ass job. And even when I disagree with you, I respect the job you're fucking doing. Because you're sitting up there trying to do that, and you had a minute to make up a decision. It's fucking hard. It's hard. Very rarely did the fighters make it easy and obvious for you. They made it hard.
No doubt at all. Like that's a whole skill all in itself, is to judge fighting for the sake of judging fighting.
Yeah. So big credit.
It's a really hard thing to do.
But so at the end of those rounds, like I said, it was the final going on to round 2. It was Tyler and Jesse versus Bam Bam and Buddy, which I agree with. If they're gonna split the teams up like this, I like to see this.
I 100% hate this split. I 100% hate
Okay.
So it's randomized as fucked, right? So it's randomized. They don't get to pick it. But if I could pick, I'm taking either Jesse or Tyler and putting them with Bam, and either Jesse or Tyler and putting them with Buddy. Because Buddy and Bam, each of them has come from a fucking weapons martial background. And those dudes have been swinging weapons for a while. Buddy, I don't think has been swinging as long as Bam has. Bam's been swinging weapons for 20-ish years. I don't know, for a long ass time.
I also the other half of that is I think that I'm sorry, Evan, go ahead.
Go.
Go, yeah. Go.
The other yeah, they're both extremely good at throwing weapon blows. They're both like accomplished weapons fighters. At the same time, Buddy and Bam Bam probably outweighed Tyler and Jesse by at least 200 pounds. As a team,
100%. And clearly, Jesse and Tyler, the better gas tanks. Those dudes.
Extremely.
Those dudes. I mean, and like at this size, your gas tank is draining so much faster. Like Bam is one of the best fighters in the game, and the best way to fight him is to fucking drain his gas tank because he's too fucking big and he can't handle it. He can't do more than that.
Which is kind of why I like this team up here. Is you have Bam and you have Buddy, these big guys that can really hurt, but then you do have the smaller, lighter team that can maybe try and outmaneuver and maybe try some tactics in there.
That is perfect example of the Roman gladiatorial style of doing fights, because they used to do small and fast versus big and fucking strong, and the Roman mob wanted to see the different skill set fight each other.
Exactly.
And I can understand, and I can see the reason. I don't like it's randomized, but I can see how that worked out.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen Tyler teamed up with Bam, and I'd like to have seen Jesse teamed up with Buddy.
Yeah,
that would have been a little bit more situational fight, but I feel that they also had a great fight in round 2.
I was so fucking surprised at the way that fight went when I came out there, and I was like, holy shit, one group has weapon skills, one group has experience on there. I mean, so let's talk about some time in kit, right? Mm-hmm. Bam's been in kit for maybe 20 years, and he's been in this game, in the steel game, as long as anyone in the U.S.
7.
Dude,
I think he's one of the original 21, right?
29, I believe, 29 is the number.
Okay.
But I don't know. Whatever the fuck it is. He was those dudes who went to Poland when we thought this shit was lethal. When no one knew how good armor was, that dude went in. And that's why Buddy talks about him being a fucking hero. And I fucking respect the fuck out of that, because those dudes did something. Like, we get out there and we all put on armor and we're all, kind of brave. But what those first fucking 29 did was something else, because no one knew what the fuck they were getting into. No one knew if they were coming back. And one of the first things they saw was dudes getting their fingers cut off, and every fucking single fight, someone went away in an ambulance until there were no fucking ambulances left at the fucking event.
I don't know if you guys know this. When the first time they went to Poland, half the team was opening armor up at the event, strapping it on and fighting.
Oh
Like they were getting armor out of shipping boxes, putting it on, and going and fighting.
Yeah, these dudes did something. Like, I remember when I first heard about this shit, I thought it was crazy. I thought these dudes were gonna die, and literally the only reason I started fighting is because I watched Jay fight enough times and not get injured. That I went, oh, armor works. I'm a fucking pussy compared to these motherfuckers who went out there with no clue what they were getting into.
Yeah,
So
very
first
true.
off, mad props to Bam for being one of that 29, and mad props to Buddy for admitting that fucking, because like, how, you know what, that's got to be like, I would never tell someone that, like, yo, I have their fucking picture on my wall, like,
Right.
like,
very true.
props to you, dude. But like, so anyway, those dudes, Buddy's been in for 5-ish years, 6-ish years, longer than me, and I'm one of the older dudes at this point. Jesse's at maybe 3 years, and Tyler's at 1 year, right?
Right. Yeah.
So the experience difference between these two teams is fucking huge.
Right. Yeah. No doubt. Which brings us, it'd be a good time to take a
How
break
feel
for our
about the weapons?
sponsor, Fatheads Posters, with their new Bam Bam line. So now even you can have them in your bathroom. Use promo code Bam Bam.
Yo, you know what? At this point, after that, I want a Bam Bam poster.
Goddamn right. I'll put one up there.
Yo, I wonder if he'll sign mine.
You know, I want a Buddy one too. Buddy and Bam Bam. I'm gonna take a piss with those
100%. 100%.
The killer bees.
Yeah, the killer bees. All right, so
All right.
moving into the second round. Before we get into the fighting, I can't believe they had 2 separate occasions to bring out a claymore. But no, we got the two-handed war sword and the Mac Chopper.
Tio, what the fuck is a two-handed war sword? What the fuck is a two-handed war sword?
I'll tell you what it is. It's a fucking claymore. That's what it is.
No, it's a fucking maybe, but that was a longsword, bro. I've seen a longsword. I know something about longsword. That was a fucking longsword.
I don't know. History, I love you, but you done fucked it, kid. You done fucked it.
Like, what? I've never heard of the fucking term two-handed war sword. Is that a historical term? If it is, someone fucking come correct me and call me an asshole online. But I've never heard that shit.
I'm pretty sure it's like some jobber that Christian knew in like the indie scene as the two-handed war sword. He's like, give a shout out to my buddy.
It's a two-handed sword that was used in war. Who cares?
Yeah, I know. Oh, but all right. So
I just like.
All right, moving along. I will say, going and to give them credit, going from episode 1 to episode 2, I really do think that this was a better use of the historical fight. It seemed a lot more realistic in our sport. You didn't, it seemed a lot more natural. Having arming swords and long swords in a melee format really isn't too great, but it's baby steps. I'll take it,
One thing I would like to see is them, if they're gonna keep going with this historical model, I'd like to see them come up with a better scoring mechanism for it, because an arming sword is a stabbing weapon, right? The gladius, the original essentially arming sword, is a stabbing goddamn weapon. Yeah. You make a fucking phalanx and you stand there and you stab people, and really you wait for someone to fall under you, and as you advance you stab them while your spears do the fucking killing. Yeah. A longsword, that's your backup weapon for when your poleaxe dies. So when your poleaxe is down, you grab the longsword and you stab someone in the fucking eye with it, right? Like, and we can't stab because we don't want to kill motherfuckers. Yeah. So let's find a way, if we're gonna use these weapons, let's find a way to score it better. I don't know what that is, but I'd like to see them go that way.
At the same time, the judges tell them straight out from the beginning that they're judging on aggression, technique, and defense.
Yeah.
They're not actually looking for like super offensive stuff, even though they make their decisions on big blows. That we also know, like, hey, that none of them sat down because of any of those blows, but they want to see significant blows made. They want to see clear shots made, and them having shields and them having everything else like that, they were supposed to show defense at the same time.
100%. And if we can skip ahead to the spoiler on this, right? I mean, obviously, if you're listening to us, you watch the fucking show. So fucking
spoiler
Tyler,
alert, Bam wins.
Basically, it sounded like Tyler and fucking Jesse lost in the judge's mind because of lack of defense. And originally, I was a little skeptical of that before I heard their explanation. And then when I heard it, I went, you know what? That's true. There was better. You could see a couple of blocks from Bam, and you could see a couple of blocks from Buddy. Not much, but a couple. You saw them doing more traditional weapon stuff, more traditional guards, and I think versus what you saw from Jesse and Tyler is basically just aggression and football running and trusting their armor to protect them. And yeah, your armor will protect you from a longsword, but that's not showing.
You have to defend yourself. That's not what the judges are looking.
Exactly.
You're not showing the skill with weapons at that point. And like, yes, your armor will protect you, but part of the reason your armor protects you is because we don't want you to die on camera.
Right.
Right. Like we armored you effectively because we don't want you to die.
Well, I mean, at the same time, they're wearing wearing full chain shirts. They're wearing plates over top of the chain shirts, and then they're wearing a jacket over top of it.
Right.
Yeah. And with the longsword and arming sword, that's enough armor at that point. For this weapon class, that's enough.
Yeah. I mean, even with those big boys swinging hard, because that's the thing. Me swinging an arming sword is not the same thing as Bam swinging an arming sword. But even with Bam swinging an arming sword, you're still getting bruises, mild bruising with that much armor. Yeah, that's what you're getting.
I mean, when you look at it, you look at Tyler's eye. Like it's what I talked about before with these. You talked about it in episode 1, and I'm going to talk about it now. I do not like people swapping out armor in this sport on the fly like that. I don't like it.
I mean, that's the thing. You heard Buddy saying, like, you know, it keeps ringing when he put on that fucking nasal. And you know, that's the problem. Like, I don't think I really don't think they were able to strap that well to his head. And when you have a limited time slot to do your strapping and your padding, it's a little dangerous. I've been concussed, and I'm not looking to do it again. And that's the thing. Like, we're out there, and we're all gonna take that risk because we're all idiots. But I would like us to you know what? I just like that option.
Right.
You know, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand that, but at the same point in time, I come at this sport as a warrior, not as I look at
shots
it as
fired. Apparently, I don't.
Yeah. AKA.
So I come
also sponsored by Depends, you little baby bitch.
I look at this sport as a warrior would, and if I'm being told that I need to fight and I need to figure out this armor to make it work and to go out and have that fight, I'm going to make it work. I'm going to fight in it. And I give everybody props to put on the weird armor, did the thing. We all did it. We all did it in the idea that, hey, this is what we're given. This is what we have to do. This is make it the fuck work so we can make it work.
That's very true.
And I'm not disagreeing with you at all, Paul. Like, you know me, you know that I'm going to be out there. But I don't think that either you or I are going to be ever considered sane or logical people. So when we say that we're willing to do it, maybe we should realize that that's not the safest thing. Like, I'm trying to look at this as two different people, as Ringo, the fucking trash knight, who's going to go out there and fight however the fuck I can, in the same way you, the barbarian, are going to go out there and be like, I have to fight with a sharp sword in a fucking underwear? All right, I guess this is what I'm doing.
Let's do it.
Right, like, that's the thing. We will do that because we're idiots. But
coming from the man that introduced brick fights.
Yeah, coming from a guy sitting here saying, I want my fighters to last longer, coming from this as I used to be the coach of the Manchester Monarchs, I want my fighters to be as protected as possible so they can do this for as long as possible. And
believe me, I agree. I'm not going to send Gunner out there with with a pair of tissue paper on and tell them to go fight. Like that's silly.
But that's the thing. We would willingly do that, but we would never ask anyone else to do that. Is my point. And based on that, I feel like we should try to figure out a better. I like what history's doing. I think there's a better way for them to do it.
Exactly.
And I don't know what it is, right? I'm not in management. I don't know what their concerns are. And I'm sitting here in my fucking like $2 chair in my fucking home office spouting off like I could fucking run a fucking multimedia. I don't know what the fuck is on.
It's also
I'm just saying
something to keep in mind too is like this is episode 2. Like this is still like the pilot, really. Like they're rolling the dice on this. There's no guarantee that the audience is going to respond to this, that they have a market for this. They're like, you know what, fuck it, let's see if this works. And to their credit,
and not only that, like that's them trying to fucking put it together, but also like they went into this not knowing anything about fighting, right? Like literally no one on the crew knew how fighting worked. And Jay and Andre did everything they could to be like, hey guys, this is what fighting is about. And from what I've put together, because like we're under NDAs and I'm not able to like, and I can only get so much information from other people, and I can only
bird here.
Yeah, so my point, I don't know that much about what on other episodes. I know a little, but not much. And what I was able to gather is that they quickly realized that some of their ideas were not as safe as they thought it was, and they started making changes. And I personally would like to see them make even more changes, and I'm confident that they're going to do that if we get a season 2. I just think that I want to state on the record, I hope they do that. I think they didn't realize what they were getting into. I think they didn't realize how fucking brutal and how dangerous our sport is. And I think as they started to piece that together, they went, how can we make this work? And
Ringo, isn't it the same realization that most people have? Like most people coming into our sport, even dudes that are like want to put on armor, they don't really fucking get it until they've gotten bashed around by me or Bam Bam or Simon or one of those dudes. They don't fucking get it until they get put in the ring with a bear and they're like, holy shit, this is what it's about? Fuck.
So, let me speak on that for a second. I know we're supposed to be talking about the show, but we're gonna go off.
This one's gonna run long. I'm fine.
We need to stop busting the balls of the show. We need to talk about the fighting.
I agree. And Ben, you're gonna have a shitty You're gonna have a shitty editing thing, because I'm gonna go on one more tangent on that.
Oh no, here we go. I wanted to go to sleep tonight. Damn it.
All right. Soon. Real quick though. All right. So Paul's point on that is exactly true though. Most people put on armor, and most people, when they put on armor, fight another dude of their skill level who's just putting on armor. Most guys don't get to come out and fight a dude who's figured out how armor works, has figured out how weapons work, have figured out how to find gaps, have figured out how to crumple armor. So most of the time when you come out here and you put on your armor, you get this false sense of invulnerability, because armor fucking works. You put it on, someone punches you, you're like, shit, that didn't do anything. They hit you with a mace, you're like, shit, that didn't do anything. And you come out here and you think, I'm invincible. And then you walk into the fucking arena with a fucking killer, with a Paul, with a Simon, with a Bam, with a Brandon, I can go down the fucking list. The point is, these dudes will put your lights out. These dudes will break your fucking bones through your armor. They've done it. We watched it happen last episode. Brian fucking destroyed Brandon. He was out for 6 weeks through his armor.
Yeah.
So,
and I think Christian had the best quote I think that I've seen is like, "This is WrestleMania." Like you're not gonna get the jobbers or like the guys that are cruising around saying, "Oh, this looks like fun. I'll give it a shot." Like no, this is where the best come to prove themselves, and the level of play in this show is already top notch, and it's something that new fighters are gonna get hurt, and it's not something that you're just gonna pat around and be like, oh, this is fun. Like you're gonna get hurt.
100%.
It's not if you're gonna get hurt. It's when you're gonna get hurt.
100%. This shit at the upper levels. This is some real fucking shit, and like you just got to be ready for it. So. I just wanted to talk to Paul's point on that.
Yeah.
Okay, past all that tangent and shit, how did you all feel about them going Braveheart?
Meh.
So okay, here's my tangent on that.
Yeah.
If you want to bring up any fucking thing in the world, I know it's the most common idea that people have of the time period, and that's what they know. Never mention Braveheart, because every reenactor in their life and everybody that has any idea of history is going to look at you and go, "Why did you even bring up that piece of smear of history that what Braveheart is?"
Yeah.
Fucking scared. It makes me angry as shit. But I got past.
So here, yeah, my point on that is like I remember going through my fucking Scottish phase, like almost every medievalist did, where we were like, oh man, Scotland's so cool because fucking Braveheart came out or some other bullshit. Like I was fucking 11 at the time.
And that's why everyone now has their profile picture as Ragnar with like some like shaved sides,
100%, 100%, right?
Thanks
like
to Vikings, yeah.
Vikings are in right now. Fucking it used to be Scots were in, and like I'm about it, but like. I got over it, and like coming into it, I feel like you can do some cool stuff with the Scots War of Independence, but honestly, that's not really. You know what I would like to see with it? Like, let's go super old school. Let's see the Scots versus the fucking Romans when they fucking put up Hadrian's Wall.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Like, especially because you're throwing fucking armor over plate anyway. Right, like they didn't do quite.
It's a long season. You might see it.
Oh, dude, if there's some Roman stuff in here, I might cream my pants.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? If there's Roman stuff in there, come on, you saw the promo next week.
Yeah, it's in the commercial.
Is your shit Roman?
Week.
Is your shit Roman? Oh, I didn't see the promo. I missed the fucking promo.
Yep,
I didn't get to see it. I heard it was baller as fuck though.
Yeah,
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, we'll try and put it. We'll try and put it on the Nightlife Facebook page. But the trailer for episode 3 is out. Our own Paul Friedel will be on it, and I'm fucking pumped for it. It's
Dude, I'm so psyched for this episode. I am 100% psyched for this. I expect amazing things. Anyway, let's get back to episode 2.
Yeah, let's wrap this episode up so we can just shoot the shit about something else too.
Let me throw you my breakdown of round 2.
All right, yeah, hit us.
Okay, Jesse and Tyler went out there and they were moving really well. They didn't really get trapped up too much. I think Bam and Buddy didn't really follow their plan too much because Bam Bam couldn't get Tyler to the ground fast enough.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just trading blows, and there wasn't a whole lot going on in the first round. The second heat of the second round, of the middle round, Jesse got free and he threw his weight around. Mm-hmm. Tyler went and crushed him up. Like, they were using their movement more, but Buddy and Bam Bam were just throwing blows and just kept hitting them, and neither Tyler nor Jesse really were trying to defend themselves because they were like, oh, my armor's here, and they're throwing small blades. The judges are looking at that going, hey, you're not defending yourselves. One of 3 tenets that we are looking for, you didn't fucking do it.
Right.
So I understand, even with Bam Bam going to the ground twice, I was surprised that Bam Bam went to the ground twice. He got up pretty quick after the first one, the second one, he took an extra second. And then Bam Bam went in and just threw fucking hands.
Yeah. It was almost to the detriment of them that they followed through with their plan, because all they did was just piss Bam off.
Yeah, if I can respond on that, so I'm 90% in agreement. It basically, movement was better on Jesse and Tyler's part. They ran around. They were able to get some checks off, some major checks. One of the other things, the real differentiator for me, and possibly this is just the highlights from the show, but looking at it, watching it, what I saw is Bam was the only one landing heavy blows. Those punches fucking landed. Yep. And yeah, Bam went to the ground twice. And I'm not as surprised as Paul on this, because I've said it for fucking years. Bam's feet are terrible. Bam's an amazing fighter with terrible feet. If he could put his fight to,
he got blindsided.
That was one of them. Was that one? He went down 2 times. One was a blindside, and I think one was a straight throw, wasn't it?
No, I think Bam got blindsided twice.
Both times? It could be.
Both times, and he didn't go to the ground any more than that.
Yeah.
But regardless, Bam's not good at taking shots and running them out. He's not good. His feet are just bad.
Right.
It's his.
He's got better. He doesn't trip over his own toes anymore. He does not have a good recovery when he's getting hit on the side.
Bam has two major weaknesses. It's his fucking endurance and his feet. And if he could fix either one of those, particularly his feet, he would be the best fighter in the league. Instead of being right now, I have him maybe at 10.
Right.
He's somewhere between the 10th and the 5th fighter in my head.
Right.
Right. But if he could fix either one of those things, he'd be number one.
Right.
That just hands down.
Yeah. So at this point, I think we can kind of say, pretty clearly that Buddy and Bam go on to the third round. That's your championship fight.
Yeah.
And so just looking at this fight, let's talk about the weapon real quick because, we talked about it last time and we'll talk about it again, but they really do not pick great weapons to go one-on-one with. And, it's
big weapons to see big blows.
I liked this one way better than the War Mace for two reasons. One, I like your ability to throw offensively and defensively doesn't really change with this versus with the War Mace. You're gonna want to go into that thumb down with your hands spread wide, the half sword stance that Buddy went into with this chopper. You don't really want to do that with a chopper. You want to stay with your hands on the hilt. The reason to go into half swording with a long sword, it's a somewhat more defensive occasionally, but really you do that to fucking stab a dude in close and for grappling.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the mace, it makes more sense because you only have that one tip to hit with. So going there doesn't cost you that much. With the chopper, you have so much blade to hit with. Switching out of that makes no sense except for in very specific circumstances, and Buddy didn't find himself in those circumstances when he switched. So I like this way better than the mace because you're gonna throw more shots. And we saw it.
Used it like a long sword. Buddy was tired of getting hit in the head. He didn't want more. So he went to half sword, like he could use it and actually try and defend a little bit more. That was what Buddy's ideal was. He was also running out of gas.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I understand him going there as in like he wanted to be defensive, but one of the things that I think I saw is that he went into half sword and then walked forward while Bam is backing up. So you've already given up range. At that point, stay out and make them come to you, and that's when you charge in. But by continuing forward, you're just keeping that distance. If you're going to be defensive out of range. Don't be defensive in range. If you're in range, you should be throwing shots. The German way of fighting, and not to go all HEMA on motherfuckers, but the German way of fighting is don't fucking block shots, throw shots through their shots, and I subscribe to that, man.
Yep.
Be aggressive. Fucking fight through them. Make them respond to you. And I know you do too, Paul.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with counter punching and punching right through their blow and everything else like that. But a good ward is a good place to be at as well. But you need to be ready to strike after it. Like German longsword is about ward strike, ward strike, ward strike. Every strike has an immediate ward built into it. Then it has an throw, like an immediate strike built right into after that ward. And when I mean ward, I mean a block.
Right.
So the other thing about that fight, when Buddy lost the weapon, he hesitated to go to the ground. Realistically, what he should have done is kept his head up, dropped to a knee, grabbed the weapon, and then stood back up. He shouldn't have looked down, looked up, looked down, looked up. He should have just dropped to a knee at the same time, because Bam hit him, grabbed it, and then came up in a block, and put Bam back, and then started throwing blows again.
Yeah.
Buddy was dead tired.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, when you're on the ground, he can't hit you anyway. So, I mean, there's a little bit of shame in it, but there's really no penalty for going down to pick up your weapon.
No.
Yeah.
You can. He could have easily done it in a controlled way and not had any marks against him.
Yeah. I mean, he lost the marks for dropping the weapon, so at that point you've lost the weapon, right? Like, And you either need to make one of two choices. You need to make the choice Josh made in the last fight and just get in there and try to make it not a weapon fight, which eventually Buddy did. But you need to do that right away, or you need to find a way to recover your weapon. And Buddy hesitated, and hesitation is the worst sin. There's a bunch of different ways of saying this, but we have a saying at the Knights Hall, which is dumb stuff fast is better than nothing. Or maybe I just have that saying. I don't know if it's the rest of the hall.
No, hesitation kills it.
Yeah. Yeah, indecision is what kills. But even still, of course it's easy for us to do it after the fact, but you have to take into effect, who is he fighting at this point? Because if I'm thinking, okay, well, I'm gonna go try and go fisticuffs and just close the gap and turn this into a slugfest, do I want to do it with Bam? Like the guy who really can fucking dent my visor with like a few good solid strikes. So that's the one thing I would have judged him on. Like, you got to pick up the weapon, man. Yeah, we also don't have iron skulls like you, so.
I want to do it with Bam because I know I can outbox Bam.
Well,
but
that's
Buddy
one of these
have
episodes.
I mean, Buddy was just outclassed. No offense to Buddy, great dude, but Buddy also is not really a singles fighter. He's mostly a melee dude.
Yep.
And Bam does play both. He's also Bam is maybe a 70-80% melee guy, but he spent some time working his singles game. And one of the things we're noticing with this fucking show is you have to be an all-around fighter. You can't just be good at one, right? Like Anton is a fucking badass singles fighter. I watched him fucking smoke a bunch of dudes. I'm not sure I could beat him in longsword. Dude is fast. He's technical. He throws a shit ton of blows. But in melee, and he's a tough dude in melee, but he hasn't figured it out yet. It's a different game than what he's used to. So and he wasn't able to make it on to where he'd have been in his spot, right? Like, had Anton made it to the end, I wouldn't have been surprised if we saw Anton going on. But getting to the end is part of the fucking battle, and he didn't have it, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Bam isn't the best all-around fighter, but he is an all-around fighter, and he's one of the.
Bam is a very good singles fighter because he's been in the SCA for 20 years, and that is a lot of one-on-one fighting, gauging your opponent, gauging the distance, and that is the biggest thing about singles fighting is gauging the distance, maintaining the distance, and then maintaining the tempo of the fight. Ringo, I know that you know this, but maintaining the tempo of the fight is like 80% of that fight. The other 20%, 10% of that's distance, and then 10% of that's being able to be tough enough to get through the round.
So I fought Bam 3 times. One time was a close fight. Bam managed to beat me out. I fought him 3 times in longsword. One time he managed to beat me out closely. It was pretty close. Mostly he beat me out because I made poor choices at the end of the round. The first time I fought him, I destroyed him for exactly that reason. I controlled the tempo. I made it my fight. The second time, I lost to him badly. Why? Because Bam controlled the tempo and didn't let me play my game. And when I played my game and didn't let Bam play his game, I won. When Bam played his game and didn't let me play my game, he beat the piss out of me. Mm-hmm. And the time when we went back and forth, it was way closer because neither of us really were able to dominate our game, and it basically probably came down to a 2-shot fight. In this situation, Bam played his game. He knew what the fuck he was doing. He maintained distance. He backed up, played with his fucking monkey arms, and fucking when it got in close, he went, cool, I'm in close. I know how to fight this way too. Bam controlled that fight from beginning to end. Clear fucking victor. He just showed how it was fucking done.
Yep.
I will say one thing to Buddy's credit is that he seriously pushed it in the second round. He showed some serious like cojones going out there the second round and doing what he did.
Yep.
And when Buddy said Bam's gas tank is just off the charts, it's not. They were both gassed as hell. You look at them taking off their helmets; they are barely able to move.
So
Like,
I'll say this for Bam. His gas tank is probably off the charts for a dude walking around at 280 or whatever the
is he
fuck he
280
is.
or is he 260?
He was 260 a couple years ago, but he's put on more fucking muscle. I know it's hard to fucking believe, but he put on more muscle.
Where?
So I'm pretty sure
Where does he still have room for that?
I'm pretty sure he's in the 280 range. And even at 260, he's fucking huge and like it's all muscle. Dude
The
is
man's
fucking
in amazing shape for
yeah,
his age.
so that's the thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't have gas like I have gas. He doesn't have gas like Brian has gas. He probably doesn't have gas like you have gas, Paul. But
Oh no! I have a gas tank.
but that's the thing. We're all about, I don't know, even you're at fucking 30 pounds less than him, right?
Yep.
Like he's carrying so much extra weight and it's all muscle. And muscle eats your fucking it eats your energy. It fucking takes way
so
more
much
blood.
Oxygen, yeah.
Yeah. Blood, oxygen, calories. So Bam is a great fucking gas tank for who the fuck he is. The
It's very
problem
good.
is he's also who the fuck he is.
I love Bam Bam to death, and I fought with him. I fought against him. I've taken blows for the man. I love him to death. He does some serious work, and he's got some serious skill, and I'm very happy to have him at my back when he's got my back.
Yeah.
No joke, and all props to Bam Bam. It was a well fought fight. All props to Buddy as well. Severely well fought fight.
Yeah.
90 seconds is a long fucking time to swing sword at somebody.
Yeah.
It was a good fight.
Yeah, the whole episode as a whole, very good episode. We alluded to it before, but very excited for episode 3. We got Paul on it. I think it's being advertised. I don't have it on screen right now, but I think it is Barbarians versus the Romans. I think it's going to be like the fall of Rome. I know. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. I need to see who else is on, but I'm very excited for that episode. Again, you can catch it Wednesdays at 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock Eastern. Big shout out to everyone that was on the episode. All 6 fighters, you fought well. Congratulations, Bam. I mean, as someone who's been anyone who's been in this sport, he's one of like he is the poster child that you have in your bathroom, and it's great to see him get recognized. Like he is that guy.
He's the fucking Ultramarine on the wall.
Yeah. And so it's great to see him get that $10,000. Congratulations. Again, episode 3. We'll see you there, Paul. Hopefully we'll have you here next week also to talk about it.
Oh no, I'm definitely on this because I definitely want to make fun of myself.
Oh, good. We share the same sentiment. But and we alluded to it before. Evan was Ringo was breaking down some fighting. If you want Ringo to break down some of your fights, highly recommend sending some videos into the Nightlife, and we can get him to break down anything you want. If you got some singles, you got some melees, send it our way. We'll step your game up, and it'll be a great time for all. Gentlemen, it's getting late here, and I want to thank you both for getting on and talk about episode 2 with me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it was great. Love talking with y'all. Can't wait to talk next week.
Okay, and to keep everything ACL, tune into the Nightlife, and we'll have some weekly videos up for you. This weekend, we're going to be broadcasting Nightmares versus Manchester Monarchs. That's going to be fucking great.
No,
great
this is
match.
The fight of the season. Hold up. Let me talk about this real quick.
Yeah, all right. Cut a promo.
The season right now is tied. The season ends in March. There is almost no time to get another fucking fight in. Basically, that means whoever wins this fucking match is the fucking victor. Nightmares haven't won a season in 2 years. They're fucking coming. They're hungry. Manchester Monarchs, they're at 3 of the last 4, and they want to and they're tired of dropping their fucking title. They want it back. This is Brian's first time in fucking control. He wants this. This is going to be a match of epic proportions. Someone is going home injured as fuck. I guarantee it. Tune the fuck in. You want to watch this.
It's going to be some good shit.
It's going to be great. I'll be there with you, be commentating over it, bringing you the action. Once again, thank you, gentlemen. But until next week, we'll catch you later.
Peace.